The sea shimmered, a vast expanse of inviting blue. The sun beat down, warm and welcoming. Aboard the small yacht, laughter rang out, fueled by anticipation. 5 friends embarked on a journey to a secluded island. A paradise awaited. John, the seasoned sailor, adjusted the sails. His smile reflected the bright, carefree mood. Next to him sat Sarah, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Mark, ever the joker, spun tales of hidden treasures and mermaids. His fiancée, Emily, playfully swatted his arm, though her laughter betrayed her amusement. David, quiet and observant, scanned the horizon, a hint of unease in his gaze. Little did they know, this idyllic scene, painted with hues of joy and promise, would soon be devoured by the ravenous maw of fear. The paradise they sought held a dark secret. The island was a predator, lying in wait, cloaked in beauty, its heart a graveyard of shattered dreams. The change was sudden and violent. The sky, once a serene blue, turned a menacing green. The wind, previously a gentle whisper, became a howling monster. It lashed at the sails, sending them into chaos. John's cheerful demeanor turned into one of deep concern. He shouted commands, his voice barely piercing through the wind's roar. The sea, once calm, became a boiling cauldron of rage. Waves, towering and fierce, crashed over the deck. Fear, raw and overwhelming, gripped the hearts of the crew. Mark's humor vanished. Emily's laughter turned into frightened gasps. Sarah clung to John, her eyes wide with fear. Only David remained oddly calm, his eyes fixed on the storm's heart. He sensed a growing dread, a foreboding of something far worse than the storm itself. The storm retreated as quickly as it arrived, leaving behind a trail of destruction and an eerie silence. The friends lay scattered across the wreckage and beach, battered and bruised. Slowly, they began to stir, their memories hazy, their bodies aching. John groaned, pushing himself up on his elbows, his gaze falling on the splintered mast and torn sails. He shook his head, trying to clear the fog of unconsciousness. A collective gasp drew his attention. The island. It loomed before them, a deceptive paradise. Lush greenery rose from pristine beaches, but a strange stillness hung in the air, broken only by the gentle lapping of waves on the shore. They were alive, stranded, but alive. Or so they thought. Their escape from the storm was only the beginning of their nightmare. Dragging their weary bodies onto the beach, the friends took stock of their situation. This island was undeniably beautiful. Palm trees swayed gently in the breeze, their leaves rustling like whispers. Exotic flowers bloomed in vibrant colors, their sweet fragrance heavy in the air. Yet, an unsettling silence hung over this island. No birds sang, no insects buzzed, no animals scurried through the undergrowth. It was as if life itself held its breath, wary of an unseen presence. Emma shivered, despite the warmth of the sun. "It's too quiet," she whispered, her voice trembling. Mark, ever the optimist, tried to lighten the mood. "Maybe the storm scared everything away," he said, forcing a chuckle. But his words lacked conviction, his gaze darting nervously around the deserted beach. This island, for all its beauty, exuded an aura of menace, an unspoken threat that sent shivers down their spines. The sand awakens. The sun began its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The friends huddled together, their fear growing with the lengthening shadows. As dusk settled over the island, the sand beneath their feet began to stir. At first, it was a subtle movement, like a ripple on the surface of water. Then, it grew more pronounced. the sand swirling and rising, taking on monstrous shapes. The friends watched in horrified fascination as the sand coalesced into figures, tall and gaunt, their forms shifting and changing like flames. A collective gasp escaped their lips as they recognized the figures for what they truly were. Ghosts, spirits. Their forms were hazy, insubstantial, yet they radiated an aura of malice that chilled the air. Their eyes, glowing embers in the gathering darkness, fixed on the friends, filled with a hunger that made their blood run cold. Flight from the unliving. Panic gripped the friends. They scrambled to their feet, eyes wide with terror. They had stumbled into a nightmare, a realm where the dead walked among the living. "Run!" John shouted, breaking the paralysis that had gripped them. They didn't need any more encouragement. Turning, they fled blindly, their bare feet pounding on the sand, the laughter and dreams of paradise a distant memory. The ghosts from the sand moved with an unnatural speed, their forms gliding effortlessly over the terrain. They were relentless hunters, their ethereal forms unhindered by obstacles, their glowing eyes never leaving their prey. The friends were outmatched, their human frailty pitted against the supernatural. Their last chance was to reach the dense jungle that bordered the beach, hoping its tangled embrace would offer some rest from the relentless pursuit. Claimed by the island. The jungle offered no refuge. Thorns tore at their clothes, branches lashed at their faces, but they couldn't afford to slow down. Fear gnawed at their every step. The rustling leaves, the snapping twigs, every sound sent their hearts racing, their minds conjuring images of relentless evil spirits from the sand. One by one, exhaustion set in, their bodies betraying them. Sarah stumbled, her ankle twisting painfully, a cry of agony escaping her lips. John stopped, his loyalty driving him to help her up, but it was already too late. The air grew colder. The sand beneath them erupted violently, ghostly figures rising, their forms solidifying, their burning eyes filled with cold, malevolent fire. Sarah screamed, her voice choked with terror as the spirits from the sand closed in, their ethereal hands reaching, grasping, pulling her towards the abyss. John fought back desperately, his fists connecting with insubstantial forms, his efforts powerless against the relentless spectral assault. He watched in horror as Sarah was dragged down, pulled into the sand, her screams abruptly cut short. As she sank beneath the ground, swallowed by the island's insatiable hunger. Eternal captivity. One by one, they fall. John ran. Driven by a primal instinct for survival, he plunged deeper into the jungle, the blood-curdling screams of his friends echoing in his ears. He didn't know how many he lost, how many had been claimed by the island's vengeful spirits. Each rustling leaf, each sinister whisper of the wind sounded like a harbinger of doom, a reminder of the horrific fate that awaited them all. He stumbled, falling to his knees, his strength failing. Despair threatened to consume him, but a flicker of hope remained. He had seen a light, a faint glow in the distance. With renewed determination, he pushed himself up, his body screaming in protest, his lungs burning. He had to warn the others, had to find a way to escape this cursed island. But as he emerged from the jungle, his heart sank. The light came from the yacht, or rather, what remained of it. The storm had driven it onto the rocks, leaving it a mangled wreck, a grim testament to their impending doom. Chapter 9. The island's hunger, trapped for eternity. The beach was a scene of horror. The sand churned and bubbled, ghostly figures rising and falling like eerie marionettes. And standing among them, their faces pale and drawn, their eyes reflecting the terror that consumed them, were his friends. They stood motionless, their bodies swaying slightly, as if buffeted by an unseen wind. Their eyes met John's, and in that brief exchange, he saw their fate, a fate he could not escape. He was alone. The island had claimed his friends, their bodies and souls absorbed into its being, their life force fueling the curse that bound this place. He stumbled back, a sob escaping his lips, the sound lost in the rustling of leaves, the whispering of the wind. He understood now. The island was not just a place, it was an entity, a predator that lured unsuspecting prey to its shores, only to trap them for eternity. And John will become the island's latest prisoner and join the ghosts in the sand. Thank you for watching Chronicles of Mysterious Tales. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you. Stay mysterious.